Ah, I've waited a long time for this. Ow. So 2024 is coming to a close tonight, which means I have not got much time to edit this. So I'm going to have to work more overtime than I already do. So I can definitely say that 2024 has had music. And that music is on my list in the form of a top 20, which I'm going to count down. And it's going to be in order. You know me or you don't. I like a wide range of music, and I think this list is going to reflect that. This is probably the most diverse list I've had to date, because I've had so much to experiment with, and I've had a bit of prep throughout the year to decide what my favorite albums are in general. So to decide this, I've got 3 criteria that makes it on my top 20. 1, I have to like it. 2, I have to think it's great. And 3, I have to enjoy it. So with that out of the way, let's kick off my top 20 albums of 2024. Starting with Alpha Wolf, Half Living Things. To have hardcore music, you've got to have a hard-hitting mix, something that punches you in the face and rips out a part of your cheekbone while it's at it. And the bountiful-esque that is the Alpha of the Wolf has come to the forefront to display its ethereal connections with every living organism. Sorry, I'm trying to talk like a journalist. How am I doing? You've got the sharp mix on the guitars, the snare sounding like it's hammered down by Molnir, probably butchered that, and the rap-esque harsh screams that come with this band. But this time around they're bringing a bit more experimentation to the mix, and I think it works very well to ease off the brakes when it needs to. And if I could describe a movement you do when listening to this record, it would probably be da 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 da. If everybody could chant that when they're watching them live, that would be great. So let's give these Aussie boys credit where it's due. The Native Howl, Sons of Destruction. This isn't your ordinary banjo playing. This isn't your ordinary country. Try not to say something derogatory about country music. Taylor Swift, oh no, that's the equivalent to Nah, she's alright really. But these guys don't just want to hit a banjo. They want to throw everything but the kitchen sink at you with it. Along with a nice little number from Lizzie Hale as well. The mix is very clean, you can hear every instrument and vocals to a crisp, and all in all, it's just the kind of stuff you didn't expect, but you're so damn glad it's there. Like moths to flames, the cycles of trying to cope. Metalcore for me is in a very weird place at the moment. There seems to be a very similar mix with a lot of different albums and artists, and I come from an era of metalcore which tried to sort of revolutionize that hardcore sound into something more melodic with Killswitch Engage, Bullet for My Valentine, As I Lay Dying, that kind of stuff. But it was like the structure of the songs alone that they created was also very unique, and it seemed along the way that uniqueness was kind of sacrificed for more electronic elements. There's definitely bands out there that can do more than just that. They can do a compromise, and that's fine. I mean, it's fine whatever kind of stuff you want to do. I just don't like it. But this is where Like Moths to Flames comes into it. They like to think outside the box about how their songs are structured. If you think you've heard something before, you're not going to hear it again on this record or from their previous stuff, which also has elements of surprise in it. And then there's also an element of rawness to this record as well. Paradigm Trigger showing more of that groovy vibe, Gone Without a Trace going down the more emotional route, and To Know Is To Die just throwing it all on the table. So if you keep making more of this stuff, that would be great. Unto Others, Never Neverland. If you like that sort of typo negative vibe, then Unto Others is the perfect band for you. Shrouded in emotional bliss that is unique to them. The nostalgic 80s style synths. And then going into pure punk with Mama Likes the Door Closed. So if you were made to feel things you didn't know you could feel before, then this is the perfect record for you. Alkaline Trio, Blood, Hair and Eyeballs. Yep, those stuff are usually in the head. A very bold alternative sound with a lot to offer. Whether you want something more rock and roll-esque, Versions of You was the first song I heard from this album, and it was the song I had playing all the way out through that week. And for this album to be just as good as that, you know you're in for a good ride. The subtle dawn of the Vermilion that incorporates this catastrophe. I'm doing it again, aren't I? I can't help it, that's how they talk. So if you're tired of metal just rocking your head back and forth and, you know, you don't want another concussion, probably from head desking, then this is an album to relax to, somewhat. I mean, I say relax, I mean, just kind of go like that, you know. Be careful, we've run out of deep heat. Nothing More, Carnal. I followed Nothing More for a while, and when I heard this song being played in a WrestleMania promo, hyped is an understatement. It takes that style of hard rock and adds an even heavier mix to it. They're saying, what do you mean we're butt rock? No, we're more like butt sex rock. If It Doesn't Hurt has got to be one of the catchiest songs this year. Even now I just can't stop listening to it. And Johnny Hawkins, I gotta say, is one of the most talented vocalists going right now. Everything from his timbre to how he can switch up his voice, he does not hold back on this record. Extinction AD, To the Detested. This is the type of thrash metal you need to listen to whilst holding a riot shield, because I imagine people in the circle pits are going to be throwing bricks. They're probably not. I mean, that's one of the rules not to do. If you fall, pick them up and hit them in the back of the head. But from start to finish, this album is just relentless, and it's punchy enough for the entire ride, along with the vocals that just fit perfectly with each song. Anthemic, angry, it's the epitome of what thrash is meant to be. Look at me gatekeeping. Gatekeeper, Dark Superstition. I've seen Gatekeeper show up a few times like Bloodstock, and they've gained a bit more notoriety. It's got a mixture of black metal ambience, thrash, and death metal, all molded into one. It kind of reflects upon falling into a void, but that void maybe has scissors, forks, and katanas around the walls of it. And further down you go, there's more flesh attached to those pointy bits. So I hope that is an idea for a music video. The Way I Am by Eminem, except he's not falling down a building, he's falling into hell. That's where some people want him to be after he wrote Houdini. The album is quite bass heavy, but not in an overwhelming sense, like it doesn't blow out your speakers. It just adds more to that heavy, dreary style that they want to go for, and it works to a T. Earthbound Kronos. Thank you guys for making this an ad on Instagram, because you guys have found a really unique sound for yourselves, and it can only get better from there. The song Flight was everywhere, and it's this atmospheric, heavy, hopeful piece that really makes you want to shoot up into the sky, Space Invaders style. It's very interesting to go from like a low scream to the kind of vocals that the lead singer's got. Along with the songwriting, it's the mix itself that really hooks me to this album, because it just really brings it to a heavenly level. Bring Me the Horizon, Post-Human Next Gen. We've heard a lot of snippets from this album before the album was even released, and we heard news of Jordan Fish leaving the band, so it was interesting to hear what this album would be like without him. But I can say for me personally, this is up there with Sempiternal. This is them throwing every food group into a blender and then coming out with a Kinder Bueno and Ferrero Rocher. It's hard to get samples as good as the way Bring Me the Horizon do them, and to hear them go more technical as well really brings me back to that earlier era of Bring Me the Horizon. And I'm always a fan of Ollie's songwriting and lyrics, like the way he puts metaphors together that doesn't sound too pretentious, and the way he can go off the cuff with it is what he brings to the forefront of this album. So if you want something a bit poppy, something experimental, but something that goes hard, then this is the album for you. Being as an Ocean, Death Can Wait. Being as an Ocean are a very interestingly awesome band. I'm really fond of their narration style mixed in with their raw sound, and this album packs plenty of it. But the electronic elements of the album really push the narration further forward, and it's conducted in a way that really punches you in the gut, gives you those butterflies. And it's interesting because the general consensus is that the last two albums from them weren't perceived very well, so for them to come back full throttle with this kind of thing, keep doing it. No! Blood Incantation, Absolute Elsewhere. The mixer of my band, who is also the guitarist from The Curse Within, described this band as death metal Pink Floyd, and he isn't wrong. Every album of theirs has a dark persuasion to it, mixed with a story to tell. This one just takes you through a journey from start to finish, and you're just not looking forward to hearing the conclusion because you want to replay it all over again. Just think of hypnotizing spirals when you listen to this track. Alcest, Le Chant de... I guess he's not a fan of Alcest really if he can't pronounce it. No, I just don't speak French very well. Now, if there's any band to give you the feels, then Alcest are the one to go for. The band where shivers are personified, and it's no different on this album. Very raw, very ethereal, with a sense of innocence from the vocals. Just an album to listen to if you decide to go floating above the Pacific Ocean. Safe! Darkest Hour, Perpetual Terminal. These guys have been in it for a long time, and I think they have produced some of their finest work to date. Everything down to the hard-hitting mix to the crisp vocals. This is the kind of metalcore I tend to strafe more towards, just because it feels passionate and raw, and you can feel every sense of anger going through a record such as this. And there's some epic tunes on this. My favorites have got to be Prayer to the Holy Death, the last song, Goddess of War, which is probably one of my favorite songs I've listened to this year, and New Utopian Dream. I just can't fault something too much as solid as this. Quake! Blind Guardian, Somewhere Far Beyond, Revisited. I'm probably cheating a bit with this, but I can make an exception for songs that are completely re-recorded. I just won't make exceptions for remasters or cover albums. So with that said, Somewhere Far Beyond is one of their finest creations, and to hear it with such crispness and to hear how far they have come since the early days is a treasure to behold in itself. The trouble that some bands have had when re-recording their earlier music is that the mix has sounded a bit off compared to what the old one provided. But Blind Guardian have just refined it in a way that just gives it a new edge. Like they didn't pull a Clayman, for example. You know me, I only have some exceptions to power metal, but the storytelling and fantasy-esque grit that Blind Guardian provides is something that rings so dear to me, which is why they've been always one of my favorites. And all this does is just make me crave more of this sort of stuff. So if you could do Tales from the Twilight World and Imaginations from the Other Side, I'd be most grateful. I wouldn't say Nightfall in Middle-earth needs it, per se, because that already has a good production on its own. You're welcome to if you want. It's up to you. Fit for an Autopsy, The Nothing That Is. Fit for an Autopsy are probably my favourite band going at the moment. Their unique spin on deathcore has always had me hooked, and Joe Bad just has such a range to his voice. The lyrical themes in their music reign supreme, and the songs capture that in even greater essence. This just has great beatdown quality to it, and Hostage starting out the album just shows that it's just going to get down and dirty. Red Horizon is one of the best songs they've ever written to date. The themes on that album, along with the music video, leaves me to near tears knowing about what's going on in the world at the moment. So it's good that they're not afraid to touch certain subjects. Everything from Spoil to the Horde to Lower Purpose just crush you in all its weight, and you just can't get away from it. I'd still probably say Oh What the Future Holds is my favourite record, but this is not far off. Padwar! Imminence, The Black. Imminence have done a fantastic job of mixing classical influences with metalcore. The songs just flatten you with a big skip full of a lot of rubble, and the vocals just add to that emotional trauma. From start to finish, there's always something unique that they offer to each of their songs, and mixed with its technical prowess, it's an album to behold. 3! Capstan The Mosaic. I gotta really give it to Capstan for providing something as raw as they can make it, because it's that uniqueness that keeps me coming back to the album. Where they want to go more technical, they pass with flying colours. Where they want to go lighter, they pass with flying colours. Where they want to go more electronic, they pass with flying colours. And this change is something that complements the amount of overproduction we've got in a lot of music like theirs these days. So that's why it's here. Bye! Judas Priest, Invincible Shield. Rob Halford is 70 and he's still producing quality such as this. Firepower was a great kickoff, and then Invincible Shield gives you everything that you heard plus more. What they do with this record is give you that riff style that you enjoyed so much in the 80s and adds a modern flair to it, with Rob Halford and his vocals just bringing those shred heavy riffs to a higher purpose. My personal favourite on the album is Gates of Hell. That chorus is just so catchy and it's levitating at its best. And for something that's just over an hour, there's never a dull moment. Oh wait, no, that's the deluxe version. 52 minutes, there we go. Gia Coma. This was definitely the toughest for me to organise because I was so torn on which album is going to be number one. Is it going to be Judas Priest or is it going to be this one? In the end, I settled with this one because from start to finish it's able to kick you in the kneecaps, these blissful clean leads, and then just jump into demise-ridden terror that the heaviness brings to the table. This is the near-perfect mix, because I don't believe in perfection, that lets you absorb everything that the band is giving to you in greater detail. The growly style of the vocals that really blend in well with the earth-shattering riffs is like a dream and a nightmare all in one. And albums such as these are usually long ones, but they've kept it at a suitable length of 50 minutes. Doesn't feel like it drags on, it doesn't feel like it's too short, it gets everything in there in such a great amount of time. So I feel like that deserves praise also. So there we go, that's my top 20 albums of 2024. If I'm lucky, I may release my top 5 or top 10 EPs tonight, but if not, then Happy New Year, everybody, and I shall release it tomorrow when nobody cares about 2024 anymore, because I feel like EPs deserve some love anyway. So if you like this, feel free to leave a comment, let me know what your favourite albums of this year are, and until next time, lights out.